Well, I think what I love most about Hawke's Bay is that, an incredible place that you've got the sea and you've got great land that's very fertile. So having the wonderful fruit and vegetables that grow here, and the organic markets on Saturday, and great seafood, and that mixture of viticulture, the wine that we have here in the area. So it's got that really wonderful mix of food and wine that's very, very hard to beat in any kind of regional area. That's fun, to go from, well, whether you're in Australia or America, or you're in Wellington or Auckland, to come to what is essentially a really beautiful part of the country and get that mix of food and wine is a really exciting place to be. Well, I think what's really changed over the many visits that I've made here is just, I think the food culture has started to really explode in New Zealand, and though you guys have had, I believe, really great produce for a very long time, I'm not sure the restaurants have been up to standard, but we've really seen over the last 10 years, I think, a real explosion in the variety of restaurants and the quality of restaurants, and of course, places like Hawke's Bay and wineries having, restaurants and cellar doors attached to the winery kind of improves the quality of food that would have been regional or country. The lodges really bringing good food to regional New Zealand, and of course, places like kind of Wellington and Auckland and Christchurch, and now Queenstown with its explosion of kind of cosmopolitan people coming to ski and, well, enjoy Queenstown, I believe, 12 months of the year because it's such a beautiful place. And link that with, the wine and the quality kind of, cheeses that are now being made here, and the stuff that's being grown and so forth. I do think in the food sense and in restaurants that New Zealand's made some really big bounds in the last, few years. Well, I think what's great when you get over here produce-wise in New Zealand is obviously everything that comes from the sea is fantastic, and we love stuff that's grown in the ground, like, really beautiful lettuces and vegetables and herbs that in summer, particularly in spring, great flavour, fantastic stone fruit. And of course, one of the really great things that you have over here, which is exported a lot, is the savannah or venison that you produce here, and of course, you see it all around the world. Very famous for lamb in New Zealand. So they're the sort of real standouts. But I think the depth of and the quality of the seafood is really quite extraordinary. And then of course moving on into the wines, great Pinots and Sauvignon Blancs, and now getting a really good name for Cabernet and Bordeaux type blends, and so the wines just going from strength to strength. Well, I think the biggest difference in fish really here in New Zealand is that the temperatures of the waters are nice and cold, and great feed regimes, and lots of natural feed for the fish and planktons and stuff from the Antarctic, and you get beautiful fat fish that have incredible flavour. Some of the things like the hapukas and things that come out of and blue eye, trevally and stuff that's coming from New Zealand just has incredible intensity of flavour, great oil content, really beautiful. And then anything that's grown here, the land seems to be very fertile and lush, and I think as far as rainfall and so forth, a little bit greener than Australia. So in that sense, there's just a lot of amazing produce that comes out of the ground. Yeah, in our restaurants we use organic almost exclusively, or we make sure that at least things are free range, or with all of our animals, they're all rare breed and they're all humanely treated. Very important to us. With vegetables, we really push for organic chickens, eggs. You not only taste the difference, but the provenance of the food that you're eating and cooking with. And I think importantly, particularly with livestock, you find that the people who raise organically, or certainly kind of free range and towards organic, are really concerned about the animal welfare behind the breeding. And so, we steer really well away from intensive farming and look more towards the sort of farmer who cares about the animals. And it's the same with fishing. We really look at fishermen that are working in sustainable fashion, fishermen that are really looking after their catch. And we're really happy to pay a premium for that because it costs more. But that's a very strong focus, sustainability and organics for us. Well, I think the farmers market is a really wonderful thing to inspire people to cook with fresh seasonal produce, and that's the key to eating and cooking really well. We get stuck in a supermarket mentality where things are available, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks of the year. And that's not where flavour comes from in food. I think it would be fantastic if every town had a farmer's market, because I think if you can take your kids to farmer's market, they learn about food and where it comes from. And I think that's a very important part in a child's education to eating well. And I don't think we'd have rates of obesity and issues with health if all kids were taught to eat a healthy diet at a young age and understood fresh produce and understood where seafood came from and the carrots grow in the ground. Well, I think the whole world has fallen in love with food, and just a certain percentage of it. You have to care about food and think about what you're eating, and the fact is that you have to eat, so it's really great if you enjoy it. The whole world's kind of fallen in love with this whole cooking genre and print media, which I think people are sort of really saying now in a news sense is dying because of what's happening online and the way that people can get their information these days. But there still is solid growth and print media in food journalism is holding, and cookbook sales are growing. And what's interesting about that is I think people have got a general desire to learn how to cook better and to sort of, I guess, pass that on to their children and to get more out of fresh produce. And lots of people don't cook at home and still love to read about food. So I think that the food media and television in sort of more specific, I guess, because it's very immediate and you can sense and feel what people are doing. You can't taste it and smell it, but you can certainly see it more than you can in a book, for instance. That's had a really big impact on the way kind of urban Australians and New Zealanders view food and view their involvement in it. And I think that's all for the better. If we can continue to communicate to people that cooking for themselves and making fresh food is really quite a simple thing to do, and much better than you can normally get in lots of restaurants and cafes, and particularly fast food. I think that sort of goes a long way to solving a lot of problems that we have in the world. I think the really simple things in cooking that change or enhancing great ingredients are, sea salt, freshly ground pepper, olive oil and lemon juice. And if you've got that in a Western sense, you can cook some amazing food. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't realise, that great cooking is incredibly simple. And you can get fantastic flavours out of food just with those wonderful simple seasonings. My plans for the future are to open a couple more restaurants. I'd love to do one in the States and just make sure that the ones that I have are really world class and fantastic, and then I have a really great group of Australians, actually quite a few New Zealanders working for me who just learn a lot more about good cooking and hospitality and what restaurants are all about, which is looking after people. Well, I think the most important thing, particularly for people at home, is just to keep it really simple, season well, and buy produce that is in season, and you end up with really good flavoured food that's delicious. But season well with salt. Get to understand the basics. So understand how to pan fry to barbecue, to deep fry, how to make a nice salad, how to dress a salad properly is a great start, how to make a pasta. And you find that if you can do those simple things well, the standard of just day-to-day eating really rises. Well, I think favourite recipes, I love simple things like pasta at home or grilled fish or whatever, but I think the most important thing is that, with fish, for instance, through pan frying, grilling, whatever you might be doing, just finish with a really nice squeeze of fresh lemon juice, and it really brings it to life. The same thing with a roast or a barbecue piece of meat. Lemon is an amazing sort of lifter of food, and fresh pepper, salt, lemon juice, then you've got something really delicious. But as far as recipes are concerned, it really is, find a favourite book, follow recipes for a little bit, but really start to sort of go on your own journey, I guess, and use quality olive oil, and you'll end up with some really delicious food.